This video will help you understand the duties of employers in preventing and addressing sexual harassment in the workplace. Throughout this series, you will learn about your rights if you or someone you know face sexual harassment and your responsibilities in preventing and addressing it.
What should employers do? Set a zero-tolerance policy for sexual and other harassment in the workplace. Introduce a code of conduct. Create a culture of respect. Educate and raise awareness among all employees at all levels. Set up mandatory courses on preventing sexual and other harassment in the workplace to be completed by all staff.
Set up a mechanism to address issues of sexual harassment. Employers can refer to the Code of Conduct and Guidelines to Prevent and Address Sexual Harassment in Workplaces, formulated by the ILO and the Employers Federation of Ceylon. Take immediate action to set up a procedure of internal investigations or inquiries. Conduct impartial internal inquiries in line with domestic laws, recognized international standards, and procedures set out in internal policies or guidelines.
Take appropriate action against the perpetrator. Terminate the employment of the perpetrator. Transfer the perpetrator. Deny promotions, bonuses, and/or other incentives and opportunities afforded to them. Take note of such behavior during performance appraisals and report on it. Impose other sanctions or take alternative action. Provide appropriate redress to the victim survivor. Compensate for emotional distress and physical pain or suffering. Compensate for lost wages, if any. Reinstate them if forced out of work. Change policies and/or practices to avoid similar situations in the future. Let's hear from a victim survivor of workplace harassment.
I used to work at a government ministry where there was a young man who was an office assistant assigned to my division. He sang songs if I passed by, winked at me, or stuck his tongue out when nobody else was looking. He stared at my body, making me very uncomfortable. I put up with this for a while until I was sick of it, and the mere sight of him would make me scared and uncomfortable. I told my colleague about it and she said that it was best to be quiet. However, I decided that I was going to do something about it. I made a complaint to the head of our division. She was very supportive and assured me of my safety. He was reprimanded and transferred to a different division. I never saw him again.
Did you know? In Manohari Pelakatiya vs. H.M. Gunasekara and others, it was held that fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution cannot be limited by the establishment code which binds public sector officers.
Employers have a duty to enforce effective measures to address workplace harassment. Ensure zero tolerance for sexual harassment.
This video is made possible by the support of the American people through the United States Agency for International Development, also known as USAID. The content of this video is the sole responsibility of the Women Parliamentarians Caucus and the Sectoral Oversight Committee on Children, Women and Gender of the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka and does not necessarily reflect the views of USAID or the United States government.